Glitchland to prepping for Rick and Morty, where so I'm running things a little bit differently. I've got veteran players, so what we're doing is we also have Rob Tui on, who's a player, and he has a lot of followers on his stream. So what we're doing, we threw it out to the fans, and the plan is every week, similar to the Rick and Morty ideal, is the characters get zapped. I mean, the players are zapped into an avatar of other players, and we're using the Rick and Morty startup box. Now, if you're not familiar with the Rick and Morty startup box, it's rather simple. D&D has 3 different startups. So if you walk into a store, a gaming store, and say, "Hey, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I want to know how to play," they'll bring you to one of 3 different starter boxes. The original one is the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Excellent resource. It takes you step by step as a dungeon master, what to prepare, how to prepare it. If you use Fantasy Grounds like we do, then the Fantasy Grounds version does the same thing, takes you step by step. It's really well written, really well done. The adventure itself is a lot of fun. So that's the Lost Mine of Phandelver starter kit. There's the Stranger Things starter kit. I know it comes with a monster mini, and beyond that, I don't really know a whole lot about the Stranger Things one. And then there's now the Rick and Morty starter kit. The Rick and Morty starter kit also takes you step by step through how to dungeon master and how to run the game, but it's done from the viewpoint of Rick talking to Morty and teaching Morty how to play the game. So if you like the show, it's very similar. There's some adult language and some lots of crass and funny puns and play on words and things. Included with the starter kit is the Dungeon of Rickedness, R-I-C-K, Rickedness. And so that's what we're playing. We're using the pre-made characters. There's 5 of them in the starter kit. And what's happening is because I have 4 players and there's 5 characters, we started off with the first week. The players themselves went to sleep and woke up in this avatar. All seasoned players, all seasoned D&D players. So they had some little bit of an idea what was going on as they looked down and tried to figure out who each other was and what was going on. As they spoke, the voice, regardless of the gender or the size, the voice that spoke was the player, not their character. So that's what we've been doing. The whole concept of the Dungeon of Rickedness simply says you're a group of adventurers. So what? You're here. Your goal is to go in, kick butt, and collect treasure. That's your motivation. So the whole thing is very tongue-in-cheek, and so what I'm doing a little bit differently is every week when we start a new session, the characters are assigned a random player. I mean, the player is assigned a random character, and so each week it could be this, a couple times they've had the same characters. Sometimes they've had different. Most times they have different characters. Anyway, and I'm leveling them up all at the same time. I give them a long rest before the start of each session. The whole point is just to have fun, sit back, relax, laugh at ourselves, laugh at Dungeons and Dragons, laugh at Rick and Morty, and so we're not worried about a long-term campaign. We're not worried about following every minute detail as far as resting and spells and all those other things. We follow the rules, but I'm just keeping it going, keeping it flavorful, and it's been a lot of fun, and we've enjoyed it. We've had lots of laughs. We play every night, every Sunday night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So join us on Rob 2E's channel. I'll also be hosting it here. So if you're running around, you can also find it on YouTube. Rob 2E, that's R-O-B, the number 2, letter E. He has, if you just search that name, he's got a lot of different channels. He broadcasts a couple times a week. And the Saturday night Rick and Morty games are all archived there. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm preparing for that. Um, the Fantasy Grounds version is pretty well done, but there are some gaps. There's also several different times when it says so in the book that the rooms are not big enough or not the right size for the things that are inside them. And if we were playing across a tabletop, that's no big deal. You just bring out your grid map, and draw it out, or do whatever you want to do to accommodate for that. But since we're in Fantasy Grounds, it takes a little bit more work in those rare instances where you can't just use what's been provided. Also, there's a lot of cartoons and little side comments all throughout the book that as you're reading it, you see a little cartoon. Rick says something, or Morty says something. It's usually Rick. And so I've been flavoring those in as well, throwing them out to the players in Fantasy Grounds. I talked to all my players first and said, hey, would you mind reading some of these things as they come up? And all of them agreed. So that's I got their permission first before I streamed it. That way, threw them on the spot, made them uncomfortable. So that's what we're doing tonight. So without enough explanation, let's take a look at some things. So the Lost Dungeon of Wickedness. Here we go. Here's your map. You can see it spells Rick with an exclamation point. Let's take a look at the actual map that we're using here in Fantasy Grounds. So if we did the same thing we just did a moment ago and resize it, right click, go over here to resize, down here to adjust horizontal, bam, you can see this is how much they've explored so far. And so they're about halfway through, where we've got until September 15th to get through this thing, and they're going at a pretty fast pace. So we'll see how things go. As you can see, we have a couple spots they went by, and I'm sure they'll come back and grab those. But for now, we're moving forward. Right now, they're fighting some cultists. The cultist room itself is pretty disgusting. It's one of the more disgusting things. Let's just say it has to do with cultists who vomit, and their vomit then becomes sentient and congeals and collects into one big mass and turns into a big ochre jelly, which then attacks the group. So right now they're fighting a vomit ooze, and that's where we left off last week. But going forward, there's a couple different rooms. So this one here is a pirate room. It has a boat. Now another quick explanation is this is my third time running it using Fantasy Grounds, so I have a little bit of a hint and a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing. At least I like to think so. So I need, in this next room, it has a boat. So it does not provide a boat token. So I'm going to grab a token and have that ready for them, because more than likely that's where they're going to go next unless they backtrack. So open up the tokens. By the way, another thing I'm doing is each week I'm changing my theme. So you'll notice when we started, you had this big undead horde in the background. That's part of this theme. Each week it's been different. Again, just to give the idea that they're transporting themselves through time and space, through dimensions. And there we go. Get rid of some of these windows. Anybody who's played Fantasy Grounds, especially as a DM, you're used to having lots of windows open. Alright, so let's see. In my items, where is my items? There we go. I have a boat. Do I have any other boats? I do not. Alright, so lots of tokens for dropped items and things. I like to have fun with this. Sometimes if they'll drop, somebody will drop their crossbow, so I'll throw a chainsaw down, or I'll throw down walkie-talkie or an Uzi or something. Anyway, so we got the boat. We'll throw the boat token onto the map. And zoom in a bit. And then we want to make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. So now, and you can see that the squares are a little, the drawing is only like a half a square here. So the boat's going to stick out a little bit, but that's okay. Right click on it and then go here to visibility. And then I'm going to make it always invisible for now. And then when they get there, I can then do the same thing. Right click, visibility, change it to visible once they get into the room. What they're going to do is they're going to get into the boat and then travel around the room. Alright, that's really all I need to do for this. Just do a quick reminding myself what this is. It's very dark, it's illuminated, there's a boat, there's a pirate that says... Yeah, see, and so this is Captain A-Hole. He's a mannequin of a pirate. He's an NPC here, so we can add him to, so he's just right here, so you can add it to the combat tracker. We're going to throw in a token for him. I think I'm just going to throw this guy here. This is obviously, before I knew what I was doing, and I have this giant image set. I got to unlock it first. Throw it in there. Come on. For his token. There we go. He's rather piratey. There we go. So he's all set and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and throw him in the room. That way you don't have to dig and try to find him. So there's a link right to him. I'm going to throw it over here. So that way I can just grab him and throw him into the combat tracker when they come up against him. It's going to make life a little bit easier for me. And so he asks them a riddle. As long as they answer the riddle, then they can leave. If the characters tank the riddle, or you get sick of waiting for the right answer, he can shoot a cannon from the deck of his dumb ship and sinks the rowboat. Sorry. Now the characters have to slog the exit, and their pants and shoes are all wet. So, not a big deal. Right now the characters are level 2. If you want to look at the party sheet, here we go. They are 664 experience out of 900 on their way to level 3. They'll hit level 3 eventually, and that's as far as they're supposed to go in this. There is a parcel. Of 1 platinum piece. It says there's a black thing tossed by the captain, and it looks like pocket extra-dimensional space called a portable hole. It's not, though. It's just a crunchy fabric. That smells like a pirate. Balled in it is a 1 platinum piece, though. The coin also smells like a pirate, yet somehow that doesn't decrease the value. Alright, anyway, so here. Here we go. I had not noticed that before, so I'm going to hit Control 3 anywhere within this paragraph, and it makes it something that you can share. So if you look at the chat, we're going to minimize this, right click, and then minimize. Makes a little bubble. So if you click on it, you can now share it. So I don't want to see all this, but a black cloth flies over letting me between the characters. Enter, boom. So now I can just share this. They're probably going to get this right. Control 3. And then, so well, the other thing I'm doing, because this is the starter kit, the guy who normally is a DM for our Saturday night group is playing this time. And he's also going to be playing Icewind Dale. He's going to be DMing Icewind Dale after this. So, as sort of a tongue-in-cheek, what we've been doing is we've been saying he's the one that Rick is teaching, and so every so often I'll share something behind the DM screen, some note or something that's in the book to the DM. That's particularly funny, I think. So in this particular case, I'm going to share this with them and have them read it. So to do that, I made it shareable, and then right-click again on the chat bubble, and down here at about 5 o'clock on the, if it was a clock face, is paragraph types, and then you go up to assign speaker to the DM. So when it pops out, it looks like this. Boom. All right, now I can lock it back up again. Ready to go. This one I'm actually going to share as well. I'll have, oops, shoot. What the heck happened here? Why is this not? There we go. And then just as to mix things up, I have different people read, like I said, different things throughout the thing. So just to remind myself, I'm going to put in here one of my players is called Mark Banya. So I'll have him read that. Okay, so this one is tough. All right, so let's take a look at this clone room, which is up here above the pirate room. Make this smaller again so I can see. So this one is a tiny, tiny room. I think I'm going to jump this again. Make it a little bit more interesting so they don't just stand toe to toe. I am trying to stretch this out a little bit because they're going through it pretty fast. So this time I think I'm going to stretch it out and make a little. So let's go ahead and pull up my maps. Alright, so I'm going to go with the, doesn't have to be fancy. Here we go, metal maps. I'm looking at, there's one that has alcoves in it, so that's what I'm looking for. Let's see, I think it's 3. Let's check through 2 real quick. Let's see, they used this one already for another part. Let me see. I'm going to shrink this down again. Right click, resize at 3 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, adjust horizontal. Boom. There we go. That's the alcoves I wanted. So they're supposed to fight themselves. So I'm going to see if there's anything else better than this for now. Let's go ahead and clear these. So again, if you all these circles they made before right click, pointers, remove all pointers. Just remove this pointer and remove all pointers. Boom, they're all gone. Here's my table. I'm going to get rid of that. Delete token. Delete all tokens. These blood spurts are also mine. Alright, so we'll do that. Let's see if there's anything else. What does 3 look like? If you hold down Control, left click, drag, change the shape of the map, right click, resize horizontal. Nope, like it. 4. That might not be bad. Let me see. Scroll down, right click, resize, adjust. The other thought I had was to have them in separate rooms, because they're supposed to be fighting themselves. The clone room, they step through the door, and stepping through the other door are themselves, and then they fight. And regardless of who wins, that's what you continue with. So it might be themselves, it might be their clone. They don't really know. So let's see. Keep this one over here, and then 5. No, I don't like the pyramid at all. What was 1 and 2 again? See, this has separate rooms. We could do the separate room thing. What was 2 like? That's 2. And then 3 has these bigger rooms. So, 1, do I want the separate rooms like this? I don't need all that space. I do want to spread it out a little bit. I think we can go with the different columns. And that way I can divide it up. So there's 4 players, so I can divide this into 4. And I have a couple different ways of doing that. So I think I'm just going to draw a line here so we can come to this little icon here, the toolbar, and click on the mask mode. Which hides everything to the players. I mentioned it last stream, but what you can do is you can right click here on your Fantasy Grounds in your toolbar and open up a second instance of Fantasy Grounds. Join the game, the same game that you're running, and this allows you to see what the player would see even though you're the DM. And you can also have this up during the actual game, so you'll notice here down in the chat it says DM Extra is connected. So what we're doing is we're separating this up into 4 areas. So we're going to go with 2 squares on either side. There we go. Boom. Again, this isn't written in this way exactly in the module, but it basically says the room is totally empty. The only visible feature is the exit door. The far door opens and an identical party of adventurers enters, eyeing you suspiciously. We'll click it and add it to the thing there. See, it's not curse mirror or whatever. I'm not a damn hack. These are identical versions of you. In the interest of efficiency, I sent another dimension's versions of you into the dungeon right when you started. Admittedly, this meeting is pretty awkward, but I'm sure we can sort it out. An important note is that these clones are not evil, they're just alternate versions of the originals. And then whenever you think you'd be most dramatic, a voice yells, "There can be only one!" And suddenly each character is isolated in a one-on-one confrontation against their double, with fog obscuring everyone's vision of the other pairs. It should be obvious what's happening, but have the players roll initiative to hammer it home. So, again, I'm going to all right. So anyways, that's what I'm doing here. Setting this up so that there are 4 rooms individually set. There we go. One thing this does not have, it does not have a grid. Glad I noticed it. Right click down here in layers. It says set grid. This is Fantasy Grounds Classic, by the way. We are going to be switching to Unity for Icewind Dale, which is the new one that comes out. But for now, we're sticking with Classic. I usually go just a smidge below and to the right of the exact corner, and then boom. Typically, it's usually an even number, so we'll try 50. And now we zoom out. Haha, I got it in 1. Yeah. For the win. So what you can do, if you didn't know this, if it doesn't line up exactly, look and see, and you'll notice if it gets too big or too small. And you can go here and make it smaller or make it bigger. When you do that, you will need to move it and line it back up and adjust. But usually that simple trick will get it to where the grid will line up. If that isn't clear at some point, I can go over that on another video. Alright, so I've got these set. So what I want to do is set up 4 other versions of themselves. So I think what I'm going to do, this is a little tough. I don't really know how to come up with alternate versions of themselves. Let's see. Trying to rack my brain. Let's see. Party, character. Can I make a copy? Let's see. If I take them out and bring them back in, that might work. Let's see. Add item, import. It's the new character wizard. I'm very excited. I haven't tried that yet. Alright, so we're going to try that. Let's go with... tonight we're playing with these 4. Drake, Matty, my Brandy, and Rob. We're not using Lion or Leon. So we're going to go with Ari. Yeah, this should work. Alright, so... just a temporary thing. Stick it in documents. So I clicked here to edit. And then when you do that, this button here is export. This is a good way to save your characters also. So now this is, see, I have 3. These are level 3 people. But these guys are only level 2. So, alright. So anyway, I'm going to go with, I'm going to put evil in front of it. Evil Ari. Save. Evil Kier. Save. Evil Meat Face. Save. And Evil Keth. Save. So I've got these 4 in there. So now we're going to import them. Boom. So I've got these. These are the pre-generated characters that the thing starts with. And to import it, I clicked import, and now I go here to import character file, and it opens up the same one. And now I've got these 4 guys. So here's Evil Meat Face, open, import, Evil Kier, open, import, Evil Keth, open, Evil Ari, open. And then what I'm going to do for tonight only, so then you go back, now that we're done with this, we can go open up characters again, and look at that, boom, 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 boom. We've got all these 4 again. So I'm going to go here to meat face and say other meat face. Actually, I'm just going to put meat face because that's all he is meat face. This one is here. This is good. This is going to work. I'm excited now. I haven't done this before. When I ran it the other times, I didn't do this. This is going to be great. Because what I'm going to do Alright, so now to fill in their faces, you go here, double click. Ari is her. There's also her. Which one am I using now? I'm using this one, I think. Wow, I can't remember. Here it is. I'm not. Okay. There we go. Keth. Double click. Keth is the thief. Alright, and if you don't know what I'm doing, you click once to open up the character sheet, double click the square, and that opens up your options that you have. This is Kier, so double click the one you want, and that loads it. You can change the token if you want. Down here in the tokens, you can drag them on there, but for normally it'll just do both. And the last one I need is meat face. Alright, why am I not seeing meat face? There he is. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, and I'll show you a little sneak peek right now, is if I switch to my alternate, let me move this down. If I switch to my alternate fantasy grounds, those 4 things I just pulled up are here. And so I'm going to grab them now because it's important I do this, because if you don't claim the character, then they'll be able to see it when they log in. So I'm doing this now. So this is, see, it says owned now, and now it won't show up when they log in. I just want the plain Kef, and then this is what I'm going to do for the fight. I'll open up this one, I'll grab all 4, and then on their turns, I'll then just jump over to here, attack with them, and we'll go from there. It's going to be a blast. Alright, characters. So on the stream, I know you can, but if you look in the top left, you'll see the characters popping up there. Alright. Hello, Mr. Javen. Give me just a second.